Governor Taft said, "I love what you've done," and he created the Clean Ohio Fund.
So Jack, you are a manufacturing hero to me. You have people that have worked in this facility for over 50 years. You have built this business as third generation. You have spun out companies. You have made new companies. You've created an incredible culture. What principles guide you to be able to do all this?
This is going to be one that probably most people listening to this won't recognize, but faith. Faith starts from the foundation of all parts. So from there, everything else is a derivative of that. And if we take care of people, people will take care of us. And so it's been a fun journey for the last 35 years. Statistically, all of the McKinseys and all the big corporations will tell you the third generation is the one that screws it up. So I've got through the first 35 years, and it is because of a desire to be this big tent where everyone is included in who could be part of this team.
When you go onto your shop floor, it is a diverse environment, people from all walks of life, from all areas. That was a conscious choice of yours, right?
Absolutely. I mean, if you want to go back and hit the replay button back to 1942, when my dad had rheumatic fever, could not go in the military, we were almost an entire female workforce because the men were overseas fighting the war. So our diversity, our inclusions has started long before I ever got involved in that chair. And I've been blessed to be able to carry on that message because today we have second chance individuals who are part of our team. We, for the last 10 years, have had special needs kids that this is their classroom for the entire school year. 2 school teachers greet them when they get off the school bus. They welcome them, teach them soft skills, and then we teach them manufacturing skills.
How much have you grown this business since you started?
The number, we don't publicly talk about our numbers, but I know that when it was first handed the keys to the ship, my dad asked me, "Where are you going to go?" And I gave him a number. He says, "You got to be kidding me." He says, "No." And we exceeded that number last year. You can do the 5 times multiple. And what the other things that we did is we created a supply company called Jergens Industrial Supply. And the first thing I did is we put our middle son to run it. And he was given the same challenge, grow this business 500%. And he did. And then this little company out in Omaha liked what we did so much with Jergens Industrial Supply that they bought it, Berkshire Hathaway. And so it's part of the Berkshire group now.
But in that same time period, you also created an education spin-out.
We were talking about this crazy idea that we had called Tooling University. I said, I think online learning is going to be a thing of the future. I picked that up partly because my school board knowledge of watching what was happening in public education, I could see that happening. And so Tooling U is now growing. They work directly with Lincoln. They work directly with all the major corporations. Everybody.
This is the gold standard in manufacturing online education. How many people did Tooling U serve learning on those platforms last year?
Now, there are 800,000 students that went to Tooling U last year. That's bigger than all the schools in the state of Ohio combined.
The idea of putting the money in your company back into your company, not all manufacturers do that. What drives your desire to continue to invest?
Because you can't get to that 5 times multiple unless you start doing it today for that next generation. We've developed the most sophisticated electric screwdriver. We showed it in Stuttgart 3 weeks ago and in Chicago last week. It is going to revolutionize what we do.
Tell me about this screwdriver. It is not your average screwdriver at all, right? It's a computer inside a screwdriver.
I'm sure that the audience is envisioning that we got a Phillips or a straight bit screwdriver and you're going to turn it. Or they're envisioning
$10,000. It's the Gucci of screwdrivers.
It's the Gucci of screwdriver. This will adjust and recognize the size of the screw that's in your eyeglass. Because it's so easy to strip a screw, it's so easy to scrap a circuit board that becomes part of this, that you You crack a circuit board and boom. Now your line is down. You're probably blowing maybe a $200 or $300 circuit board. If it's going into a missile system or whatever it happens to be, then you got to take this all apart. You got to make sure no chips fell. Well, our screwdriver will take care of all those potential problems. It will go in, drive the screw in, find sense torque. It will shut off. If you actually want to take momentum, it'll go all the way in, take the momentum, come back a quarter of a turn, put it back in.
So it also takes the data. This is that Industry 4.0, connects all the data so you know exactly how that screw's been screwed in. If there's a failure on the product, you know all the specs around every screw that's going into it. But it's used for applications where that really matters. Say, I remember during the pandemic, ventilator production
Absolutely.
was using them. What other things use these screwdrivers?
The applications would be circuit boards in your cell phone, circuit boards on the cell towers themselves. If you ever open up a cell tower and look at it, it is just loaded with circuit boards. And we're one of the prime suppliers to actually do the circuit boards that go inside that tower. All your medical devices, your heart ventilators, all those, any place where there's going to be a screw that needs to make sure it's precisely torqued.
Jack, what stands out as some of the most proud moments for you in your career, especially at Jergens?
One of the ones that I am most pleased with was my craziest, hardest sale of my entire life, because we were bursting at the seams in our other building. And so we were out looking, and we were looking in Geauga County, and we were looking down at South Carolina, and all the places that normally would be trying to entice you to move. At that point in time, it was probably about 140, 150 employees to those locations. And my car wheel just kept coming back to the Collinwood Railroad yards. They did rebuilding of the cars, rebuilding the engines, rebuilding everything in a huge roundhouse. But when they moved to diesel, they just basically abandoned 50 acres on the most visible site in the city of Cleveland. Trash. Every dead animal, every piece of refrigerator, every tire, anything that somebody wanted to do at the midnight dump site, they would drive onto this 50 acres, and it was as high as the place we're sitting right now, as far as we were piled up. And I drove in here with 2 cars with our team and said, this is going to be all green. We're going to have this covered, all 50 acres, with other businesses going to be here, and this is going to be our corporate headquarters. And they looked at me saying, you are crazy as could be. And so this turned out to be the worst brownfield in the entire state of Ohio. So people who know brownfield, this was what Governor Taft sat in our conference room and said, I love what you've done. I want to take this statewide, and he created the Clean Ohio Fund. And so with that, we as taxpayers voted to support the Clean Ohio Fund 2 times with over $400 million each out there. And I thought, that's pretty cool when you start from driving in here in a trash dumped site to be cleaning up sites throughout the entire state of Ohio with that vision. So, and today we have the food bank next door, we have the Cleveland Clinic right next door to that, and Social Security offices next to that.
So I'm going to switch to talking about the region. Can we lead the world in smart manufacturing?
We were the leader back in the 1900s, Northeast Ohio, and steel and all the other things, oil. I mean, those were all being led through entrepreneurs. We need to get back and say, let's own it. And let's ask some of those big companies that are here. Now, we got some great ones like Swagelok and Lincoln Electric, but let's ask some of those other ones that have taken their manufacturing and moved to someplace else, put it back here. See your neighbors, what they're doing. All you got to do is go on a tour of a Lincoln or go on a tour of a Swagelok. You see that they brought it here. Hey, guys, bring your stuff here, too. You could do that. And I don't think it's beyond the possibility that when we tear down the Justice Center, my part-time elected official capacity, that site will be the #1 site for economic development between Chicago and New York. And so some corporation, I think, will put its Fortune 50 or its Fortune 100 headquarters right there overlooking the lake, a half a block away from the Sherwin-Williams World Headquarters, right next door to Key Bank's headquarters. And so I think we could be transformational. And we just opened up another 50-acre site, the same size as Jergens, right down the street here that could be making and manufacturing too.